Bhagavata Narayana Swayam Vyasena Kratita Puranena Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshini Bhagavati Ashtadashadhyayini Santanam
Santadami
Bhagavattveshini.
Yes, so this 20, 21, 22 is talking about the Aksharam Brahma, that is Virtat Param. The sense from the 10th verse was talking about Krama Mukti. There, before that he has talked about Adhyatma and Adibodhika, Adidevika, Adiyajna and all that, all Karma Upasana. The culmination of that is the Krama Mukti, which was in the 10th verse. And thereafter he had been talking about the karma and what is the Vyakta, coming back and staying in Brahmalaka, all those things. Now 20, 21, 22 is talking about the Brahman, which is Avyaktat Param Aksharam, that Om Ityaitat. That meaning of that Om is the Avyaktat Param Aksharam, that is Brahman Atma, which is the topic of the first 6 chapters. Like we have talked about Atma, that is Atma in 7th chapter is Ishvara Swarupam, that is Brahman. That is what is highlighted in these 3 slokas. That is 19, 20, 21. 20, 21, 22. So 20 has already explained that Nasyatsu Sarveshu Bhuteshu Nasyatsu Na Vinasyati. Even when all this cyclic Vikta keeps on, that keep on going, but this doesn't change. The being, the Swarupa, which I have been always telling, the Nirvisesha Atma Brahman, that is the anchor, that is the Kutastham, anchor. In that, everything is going on. Prajahati Yata Kaman, all movie is going on. The movie is Vikta and Avyakta. Aksharam Brahma is our Swarupa, Ishvara Swarupa. That he is highlighting in Om Aksharam. That is what is highlighting in 20, 21, 22. He is continuing that, yeah.
Verse 21. Avyaktoksara ityuktas tamahuhu paramam gatim yam prapya nivartante taddama paramam mama.
So the taddama paramam mama is a very famous statement for all the Vaishnavites, everyone. Taddama paramam paramdama is that. That is what is being talked about. Paramdama, as far as Vedanta is concerned, paramdama is the Swarupa of the self, the being. You don't have to go anywhere. Dhamam, Paramdhamam, the abode is in self, and that is Ishvara Swarupa, that is Shiva Swarupa, yeah.
Avyaktaha, the unmanifest, Aksharaha iti uktaha, that was spoken as the one that is not subject to destruction. Tam Aksharam, that Akshara Paramam Gatim, as the highest end. Ahuhu, they say, Yam Prapya, gaining which, not nivartante, people do not return. That, Mama.
Not working.
Yeah.
Sorry for delay.
Paramam, the highest, Dhamma, abode.
See, the beauty of this Aksharam, with so much there in our culture. The first time when we even teach the child Akshara Abhyasam. So the first Aksharam itself, the A itself is awareful being, the waking state. So that is what A stands for, A stands for waking state, and the first word when a child opens the mouth, first syllable is A. Actually A only it tells, then only Amma and all that. First A. So the Shastra is so very holistic. It says that is what the whole. That is why even in the Christianity, in the beginning there is a word. There was a word. The word was with God. The word was God. So that is the reality actually. But they somehow they didn't get it. They didn't, even though they picked up from the Shastra, but they are not able to decipher it. So what it means is the whole word and meaning only is life, and the word and meaning comes in the mind, which is being lit by the awareful being, the Atma. So the variation comes with the word, but the variation itself is lit by the invariable Atma. So from there only starts. It starts from there, it resolves in there. So when you start and keep moving around, lot of words and meanings, like it's called life, time, space, everything. Whereas when everything gets resolved into the being, everything, even the all words and meanings get resolved. So that is why it is called Aksharam. From where Aksharam came in, from into which Aksharam moves in. So that is called Aksharam. So that is what is talked about. Yeah.
The unmanifest that are spoken of as the one that is not subject to destruction is the highest end, they say. That abode of mind, gaining which people do not return, is the highest. Avyaktaha aksharaha iti uktaha tam ahuhu paramam gatim. The avyakta atma is akshara, not subject to destruction. Because it is not subject to time, it is not subject to any kind of change. It is that which people who know the Shastra call Paramagati. A place that we reach or any accomplishment we achieve is called Gati, the end. Vishnu Loka and Brahma Loka are ends for the Jiva, the Samsari. But here Atma, the self who wants to go to places, is itself said to be the end. How is this possible? How can I be a Gati to myself? How can there be two Atmas, one who reaches and the other who is reached? The answer is, for the confused person, truth is the Gati, end. All other ends are within samsara and they are for the confused jiva. So, when he wants to be released from samsara, Atma itself, the truth of the confused jiva, becomes the Gati. That is what they say is the most exalted end, Paramagati. Any other Gati is reached only after death and can be either bad or good. Paramagati has no equal. It is moksha. So, the Atma itself becomes moksha here. Freedom, the Purushartha, is non-separate from oneself. Therefore, the seeker of moksha is not separate from moksha. Since the seeker and the sought are the one and the same, and the seeking stems from ignorance. If I am the end and I am the seeker, the means for accomplishing that end can only be viveka, discernment. Viveka is the means, Atma is the end. The aviveki becomes the seeker. The avyakta Atma, the end. The viveka, the means. Yam prapyana nivartante taddama paramam mama. Why is it called paramagati? It is because gaining this, they do not come back. There is no coming back because it is not an end other than yourself. Generally from any end, you certainly come back. But when the end is yourself, how can you come back? You can come back only from an experience. For instance, simple nirvikalpa samadhi without the knowledge that Atma is nirvikalpa is an experience from which you will come back. When it is knowledge, coming back is not possible. With the mind, you are Satchit Ananda Atma. And without the mind, you are still Satchit Ananda Atma.
Yeah, this is what we were querying yesterday. The mind. The mind is not the issue. With the mind also you are Satchit Ananda Atma. The being that lights up is the... So we should not get agitated when the mind gets agitated or when the mind is not able to stay. That is its Sarupa. You are not the mind. That understanding alone is important. So if that clarity is there, you will not get when the mind, the thoughts come and go and all, you will just observe it. Once you observe it, automatically it subsides. So because they get lit only by you, the being. That is what he says. With the mind, you are Satchidananda Atma. Without the mind also, you are still Satchidananda Atma. Yeah.
What is to be gained? Before a thought, there is Sat Chit Ananda Atma. When a thought is there, it is the same. A thought does not displace Sat Chit Ananda Atma. It is nothing but an expression of Sat Chit Ananda Atma. Even if you have a thought, if you know you are Sat Chit Ananda Atma, there is no question of losing that knowledge. Once there is no ignorance of Atma, which does not change, there is no return. Bhagavan says, Atma is indeed my abode, Dhamma. It is Paramagati, the highest end. The expression Paramagati can give rise to the notion that there is a place that you have to reach. Shastra does talk about heaven as a desirable place, but Bhagavan says here that the highest end is you. There is no heaven beyond you. All other places are places from where you will return. This is a heaven entering which you will never return. Everybody is generally committed to go to a place where they can be free from the troubles of life. The desirability is expressed by using the word Dhamma. At the same time, it is made clear that even though it is heaven-like, it is non-separate from you and there is no coming back. That is the greatest abode. Bhagavan says, I have no abode other than you. I reside in your own intellect. Achieving this Atma by knowledge, which is the only way to achieve it, is moksha. Now Bhagavan shows the only means for achieving this, and it is none other than the committed vichara, inquiry into the nature of Atma.
Verse 22. The word Purusha indicates both Tatastha Lakshana and Swarupa Lakshana. Purushassa Parapartha Bhaktya Labhyastvananyaya Yasyam Dastani Bhutani Yena Sarvamidam Tatam. Purushaha Saparaha. That Purusha is limitless. Partha, O Partha Arjuna, Labhyaha tu, it can be gained. Bhaktya Ananyaya, by devotion in which there is no other. Yasya Antastani, in whom all beings have their being. Yena, by whom Sarvam Idam, all this, Tatam, is pervaded. That Purusha who is the limitless, Partha Arjuna, can be gained by devotion in which there is no other. He is the one in whom all the beings have their being, the one by whom all this is pervaded.
So this is that transcendental and the immanent, which I have put it in that article. Where Swamiji has talked about Sarvakarma Sannyasa and what Saddarshanam, the first verse, all that you read, the entire blog, the 2 blogs and the entire discussion, if you read, it will all boil down to this only, what has been the 2021, 2020. Has explained how it all comes down. Finally, it comes down to you only, your Swarupa only. Then what you call the Nirvisesha Atma lights up the whole thing, whatever is moving and all that. So the Purusha who is limitless is the one in whom all of them have their being and by whom all is pervaded. So in sense, whatever we are seeing, vritti, thoughts, activities and all, they are all lit and connection, the connectivity and the creativity is because of the Chit Swarupa of Atma, the being, and it is always there as invariable, Sat Swarupa. Sat Swarupa and Chit Swarupa together forms the whole. One is transcending, that is, it is untouched, asangaha by all that is happening around. At the same time, all this cannot happen without your being. So, transcendence and immanence. So, in and as, like if there is something like in and as Swarupa, means that is your Swarupa. In and as, you are the Swarupa and because of you, the entire Vishwam is. So, that is what is being talked about, yeah.
Actually, that you have written about typing, that really stays in the mind.
Yeah, yeah, I have written that. I have written that. Beautiful.
Think of it, it's very true.
Think about it. It is there. Then we don't have to go for, Swamiji always, we don't have to go for anecdotes and examples outside of a human body. Human body, that we dream tells you that all Chetanam and Achetanam are one and the same. They are all lit by both in your dream, the conscious being lights up the mountain as well as the fellow. There is no chit and chetanam and achetanam. That is why satyam, the word meaning is satcha tyacha. I have told before. Satcha tyacha bhavati. Meaning both the movable and immovable is called satyam. The one meaning of satyam is movable and immovable. Movable and immovable is a rock, stone and all without sukshma sarira. And movable is all living beings. So both the living being and non-living being is satyam, is sat swarupa. So that is, and our body, in the sense, there is no, it doesn't, we're not waiting for time and space. Anything you do, everything simultaneously, it's all getting processed. Continuously it's happening throughout our life. Without anyone telling, you do this, after this you do this. No, everything happens simultaneously. Because there is no time, space in the body politic, which I have mentioned there in that article. Because that is Ishvara Srishti. Since you are not involved, Ishvara is not bound by time and space. So automatically, we have to understand, we have to learn from our own living and our own dream, our own sleep. We have to understand what is invariable is only Atma. Everything else is coming and going. And what is coming and going, you can't cry over it. It will keep changing. Can't help it. That is how it is. You have to look for the invariable because your value is in the invariable. You want to be the invariable and you are the invariable. What you seek is what you are. So you have to only understand and be. That is what the whole Tatparya is all about. Yeah. Actually,
Swamiji, today I was reading, I don't know whether it is relevant, but Shivananda Laharila, Bhagavad Pada, that one stotram, that angel seed, angel seed, it has the quality of, once the seed sprouts, it has the quality of going back to the tree and gets stuck on the tree and then it is absorbed by the tree again. And so he says, when he prays to Shiva, he says, like an angel, then like a magnet which, iron filings which get drawn to magnet, then a pativrata who gets drawn to a pati, he is giving examples. And the fourth is nadi into the ocean. That also, that I was reading the
Shastra example. It is a famous Shastra example, yeah.
So all these four he says, and then, like that, let me also get drawn to you and be sucked by you. That is, you become one and the same. You and I become one and the same. That is
the reality. That is the reality. Nadi example Shastra also gives. See, in Nadi, actually when you look at the continuous flow, that every, at no point in time, a particular particle of water is the same. In the next shanam it changes because it's moving. So, it is continuously moving. So, what is continuously moving? The only reality is the whole thing right from the origin. From ocean, it becomes a cloud, and cloud it becomes a river and goes. So, it is a cycle. So, what is the constant, invariable is only water. And you don't look for a particle and say the river here, Ganga, there, Samudram and all that. No, that's all our nomenclature. Whereas the being is only the water. So everything, ocean, wave, water, river, even the megam, clouds and rain, everything is one water. So it is continuous. So you have to look at yourself as a water. Then you will not be buffeted by the river and the ocean and all those things. The Tatparya of life is like that. So you are looking for constancy and you are a constant being. But only that we don't recognize that. We identify ourselves with our body, mind and our individuality and then suffer. What they say is that the individuality and this thing is, Ishvara Srishti in the vagary of life, continuous, the ocean to megam to rain to river to ocean, it goes on. That is in the prapancham, that is in the niyati it is. You don't identify yourself with that. You understand that you are water. Then that is Parandama. That is what it is all about. It's a question of understanding, that's all. This is not a question of doing anything, it's a question of understanding. once you understand, whatever you do, you will be sensible about it. Whatever to the extent nimitta matram bhava savyasachi, that is becomes applicable. Once, otherwise, if you look at yourself as an individual, you cannot one up the limitations of the individual. Naturally, you will be doing something sometimes. Okay, dharma, if it is possible. Otherwise, if you wink yourself and do adharma. Either way, you want to, because you identify yourself as an individual, you find uncomfortable with that. Okay, so you want to become Purnam, bigger and all that. Whereas the big Atma is the only thing because of which all these things are happening. So, a lot of examples are there in the Purana as well as the Shastra examples. Nadi example is there in the Shastra also. Yeah.
And also Mahapariva says, in any, that when the river confluence with the ocean and river, he says, you can check wherever you go, the rivers getting into the ocean, few yards before itself, the water will be salty.
Yeah. They say no that Sagar at Bengal, the Sagar where Ganges goes into the ocean, not by 10 miles before it becomes salty. That is why it says if you take one step towards Bhagavan, Bhagavan will take 100 steps towards you. The ocean comes into the river and takes it. That is why it is salty. That is what all beautiful examples in the nature also. Yeah.
Purishaha sa paraha partha bhaktya labhya tu. Arjuna, that Purusha is to be gained. It can be gained through para bhakti. Shankara says here that Purusha means the one who seems to sleep in the body, who resides there without performing any action, which is why Vishnu is depicted as lying down. He is not sleeping but is very much awake as Chaitanya Swarupa. Atma, which is Chaitanya Swarupa, is resting in this physical body. This is the Tatastha Lakshana of Purusha, the definition that defines a thing in terms of its connection to something, as we saw before. When we say that out of which the world has come, by which it is sustained and unto which it returns is Brahman, it is Tatastha Lakshana of Brahman. It indicates that Brahman is not to be sought as name and form or beyond name and form. It is to be sought as that out of which all names and forms have come, by which they are sustained and unto which they return. Your own physical body is a name and form and therefore not separate from Brahman. So you need not search for Brahman. You need not wait for certain conditions or go to a place or be in a situation where you can see Brahman. Any place and time is Brahman. It is a matter of recognizing what is already existing now. The very knower is not separate from Brahman, as is everything he knows. From this you understand that everything is Brahman. That is Tatastha Lakshana. Purusha can also mean Purna, limitless. This is Swarupa Lakshana, a definition which tells the nature of Brahman. It is not limited by space, time or any attribute, even though all qualities belong to it. Purnamada Purnamidam. That is whole, this is whole. And this whole coming into being is only a manifestation of name and form. If this whole is removed from that whole, what remains is that whole.
Yeah, that same famous Shanti Mantra.
Anyway, you look at it, it is Purna. Therefore, it is Para. The one who obtains in the physical body is Para, limitless. Para becomes the reason for it being Purusha, or we can say Purusha, the Jiva, is nothing but Para. Either way, it has the same meaning. How are you going to reach this Para Purusha when it is already the nature of yourself? Bhagavan says, Ananya Nitya tu Labhyaha. It is
Ananya thing will keep coming. Throughout the Shastra, it will keep coming, Ananya. Once you understand this Ananya, then it's all done. Yeah.
It is gained only by devotion in which there is no other. Shankara says here it is devotion that is characterized by knowledge. If he is already not separate from yourself, the only way you can pursue him is through the committed pursuit of knowledge. Usually there is love when two people are involved and the fusion takes place. In the devotional literature, The jivas represented by the gopis are totally absorbed in the pursuit of Krishna, who is Parameshwara. This can be called Ananya Bhakti, devotion to one object and only that object. But when another object is involved, it is Anya Bhakti. Here Bhagavan says Ananya Bhakti, a devotion in which there is no other, a devotion to Atma, which is not other than yourself. Generally, the result of devotion is to go to other lokas, and the commitment is for that purpose. But in Ananya Bhakti, the commitment is to one's Atma. Bhakti here implies an inquiry that is imbued with Shraddha and longing. Because of that, only a Jignasu or a Mumukshu can gain this knowledge. Anything knowable that is other than yourself, you can stumble upon, but not Atma. There are many reasons for this, but the most important one is that Atma is not an object. It is well hidden because the person who looks for it is really looking for oneself. So the problem of seeking should be reduced to simple jignasa. All desires are reduced to one dominant, consuming desire to know the Atma. That is what is meant by the word Ananya Bhakti here. About that Atma he says, Yasya antaha sthani bhutani yena sarvam idam tatam. The one within whom are all beings and things in the world, and by whom all beings are pervaded, that is Atma. Just as an effect is pervaded by its material cause, all names and forms which are effects are pervaded by Atma, the cause. Like the rope for the snake, Atma is the Vivarta Upadana Karana, the material cause that does not undergo any change. Shankara uses the word Karya Bhutani in the form of a product to describe these beings. Like even a product like pot that exists within its cause, the clay, so too all things exist within or are comprised of Purusha. This entire world is pervaded by Purusha. Like the pot that is pervaded by space, and within space alone all pots exist, this Atma, being the cause of everything, is the one in whom all have their being and by whom all are pervaded. Being the cause of everything, there is nothing that is away from it. The existence of everything belongs only to Sat Chit Atma. Swamiji, can you, that like the pot that is pervaded by space, and within space alone all pots exist, this Atma, being the cause of everything, is the one in whom all have their being and by whom all are okay.
Yeah. So basically again the transcendence and immanence, in the sense without space, pot space cannot exist. But pot space is not affected by the pot. Even though we call it pot space for use purpose, in the sense what pot space, tumbler space can hold only that much water. Pot space will hold more water. So it is useful. But in terms of space, there is no difference. Space is not affected either by the pot or by the tumbler. So the space remains the same, asanga, but without space you cannot have pot space or tumbler space. So the usefulness of all your body's mind, senses, all your vyavahara is basically lit by the being which is equivalent to space. Likewise, all the entire pot world is possible only because of the space, but space is not affected. It is always there even when the pot is not there. The entire pot world becomes clay, still space remains. So the beautiful example in Shastra, space is the closest to Atma because it is not objectified. Even though compared to Atma, in Atma when you go to sleep, space is not there, Atma is there. So Atma is superior to space also, but for all other purpose, space is a very good example for you to explain that the immanency and the transcendency of Atma. The sense by which everything is pervaded. Without that, nothing can function. At the same time, Atma is not affected by any of this. It is invariable. So that is what you are. The sense, the whole thing is, that's what I have written in that article also. Ultimately, we should not stay with the example. We should go what it conveys. It is your reality. You must be able to claim it. This is what I am. This is my reality. I am transcendent. and immanent. Because of me, the whole thing of world of name and form is there. So the world is because of memory, my time and space, which I bring in, which I light up. Because of that only there is a world for me. When I go to sleep, there is no world. So when I get up again, there is a world. So who is lighting up the world? I, the being. But the thing is that we are so much used to looking for some experience, and we never think that I can be the total, I can be the Swarupa, Vishwara, which is something indigestible. Because for Janmas we have lived away from it. That Ananya Bhakti is only in understanding. That's what is again and again trying to tell. You must be able to claim it here and now by going through this again and again and doing the vichara at the same time, doing the meditation and dhyanam and all that, one up. And thereafter, nothing happens, everything, whatever happens, happens. But you will not be searching, you will be able to claim and be content with Atmani Atmana Tushtaha. Finally, that is the culmination of this understanding. That is what I have put in that article also. When you go through the whole thing, you will get it. Yeah.
What we call creation is nothing but name and form. Upon analysis, every name and form is reducible to further name and form until the entire Nama Rupa is reduced to Sat Chit Ananda Atma. Wherever there is name and form, understand that there is Atma which is not separate from it. This Atma is to be gained by Ananya Bhakti. Bhakti implies something that you love. In Ananya Bhakti, all objects of desire are reduced to one Atma. The desire to know that Atma is Jigyasa. The desire to know that Atma is Jigyasa and the love to know that Atma is Bhakti. Any form of Bhakti is meant to discover Ishvara, and the discovery of Parameshvara as Atma is the end of the Jigyasa. In these verses, Bhagavan points out two types of seekers. One seeker is directly and totally committed to Brahman. For such a seeker, there is no travel after death because there is no subtle body. Its cause, the causal body, ignorance has been destroyed along with all its products. The karma standing in the account of Jiva is no longer separate from Brahman. Therefore, in effect, there is no causal body. So, there is no more birth. Other seekers are the Upasakas, meditators. They go to Brahma Loka and there, being taught by Brahmaji, gain liberation. Then there are those who are doing good karma, desiring for a better life later. They do gain a better life, but they have to come back again. All this is pointed out here. Keeping this in mind, Shankara introduces the next 4 verses. These verses discuss the Upasakas, meditators who impose the concept of Brahman upon Omkara as a symbol in order to invoke or gain Parameshvara. For them, liberation is only after death. Such people, the Shruti says, can go to Brahmaloka. They travel through the Uttara Marga, one of the routes followed after death. Those who perform good karmas, deciding a better life later, follow the Dakshina Marga, southern route, when they depart from this life. Both paths are shown to point out that there are 2 different directions. Uttara Marga goes to a place from where there is no possibility of return. The other, Dakshina Marga, goes to a place from where you will return. The south stands for samsara or death and north for moksha. Everyone is attracted to moksha, even those who strive for the other lokas. Because of ignorance and confusion, they pursue lesser things, thinking that those will solve the problem. The northern route is also called the solar or bright path, and the other one, the smoky or cloudy path. Both are pointed out here only to praise the Uttara Marga.
Sure, you want to read?
Yeah, okay. Verse 23 and 26, praising the Uttara Marga by using Dakshina Marga as a background. Yatra kale tvana vritti ma vrittim chaiva yoginaha prayata yanti tam kalam vakshyami bharatarshava. 2, however, yatra kale, at which time, by which route, yoginaha, yogis, prayataha, who have departed, yanti, go, tam kalam, that time, anavrittim of no return, avrittim cha and of return, eva indeed, vakshyami I will tell, Bharatar Sabha, O the foremost in the clan of Bharata. Arjuna, the foremost in the clan of Bharata. I will tell you what is the time route of no return and also the time route of return by which the departed yogis go. Just as in a herd of cattle, there is usually one bull that stands out, so too Arjuna cannot be missed among the members of the Bharata family. Therefore, he is addressed as Bharatar Sabha.
Bharata is Rishabha. Rishabha means bull. Rishabha means bull. Bull, he is compared to the other Bharatas as cattle. Among the cattle, the bull is the king. So, Bharata Rishabha. Arjuna is called the Rishabha among the cows. Yeah.
Prayataha means travelers, and the word is connected to Yoginaha, which refers to those who are either meditators or karmatas.
Karmatas. Yeah.
Karmatas.
No, not ta. Ta.
Karmatas.
See, below that there is a dot, no? You have to pronounce it as karmatas. Ta.
Karmatas. After death, some of the yogis travel the path from which they will return, while others depart through a path from which there is no return. I will now tell you about both these margas, says Bhagavan. The word Kala in this verse stands for Marga, path, by which people depart after death. The Marga is mentioned through the Kala. The word Kala also indicates the Devatas identified with time. Since the world is not separate from Ishvara, every phenomenon in the world is Ishvara. When you look at through a given phenomenon, Ishvara becomes a Devata. All things, earth, trees, rivers, besides being objects, are looked upon as Devatas. Ishvara, the efficient cause of creation, is viewed from the standpoint of a given effect. If the Lord is the material cause, the world becomes the very form of Ishvara. When you view Ishvara through a given form in the creation, Ishvara becomes the presiding deity of that form. If you look at Ishvara through karma, he becomes the one who presides over the law of karma and gives the results of actions. Any number of devatas are possible because there are varieties of phenomena. When you can look at Ishvara from any given aspect in the creation through the Kala. The word Kala also indicates the devatas identified with time. I'm sorry. Something happened on my screen.
I skipped something. When you can look at Ishvara from any given aspect in the creation, from there you start.
There are many gods.
There are many gods. And they are at the end of the para.
Okay. When you can look at Ishvara from any given aspect in the creation,
Yeah, correct.
there are many gods. They are nothing but one Ishvara viewed from different standpoints. This is said not only to show where these meditators go, but to praise the meditators who go to Brahmaloka and do not return. A description of the others and where they go is also given. The intention of Krishna is to praise the Uttara Marga by using Dakshina Marga as a background. There is no better background than a good contrast. It is not said to belittle the other, but as an aid to understanding. Actually, I am getting some gas smell in my house, so I just would like to see. Amma, can you continue? I'll just spend 2 minutes. I just have to check the gas. Suddenly, as I'm reading, I'm getting a lot of smell. Let me just check it.
Let's just see, maybe there's a leak. Yeah.
Agni Jyotiraha
Shuklaha. 24.
Agni Jyotiraha Suklaha Shanmasa Uttarayanam Tatra Prayata Gaschanti Brahma Vido Janaha Yatra. Wherein? Which path? Agni, the deity of fire and time. Here the word Agni refers to the Devata and that too the Devata of time. So too with the others mentioned in this verse and the next as Bhagavan Sankara says, Agnihi Kalabhimanini.
Kala Abhimanini. Kala Abhimanini is Agni.
Devata
Is
Jyotirabi.
Kala Abhimanini Devata.
Kala Abhimanini.
Devata.
Question.
He Kala Abhimanini Devata. It is associated with Kala. That is why Agni is called Kala Devata. Yes. Tata Jyotihi Api Devata eva Kala Abhimanini. Even Jyoti is also Devata eva Kala Abhimanini. That is Shankara Bhashyam, he is quoting it. Yeah.
Jyotihi, the deity of light. Ahaha, the deity of the day. Suklaha, the deity of the bright fortnight of the waxing moon. Shanmasa, Uttarayana, the deity of the 6 months of the sun's northward travel. Shanti or present. Shanti or present. Tatra Prayataha, those who have departed through that path after death. Brahmavidaha Janaha, the people who meditate on Brahma to Brahmaloka, Gachanti go. Departing there through that path in which the deity of fire, the deity of light, the deity of the day, the deity of the bright fortnight of the waxing moon, the deity of the 6 months of northern solstice, the sun's travel towards north are present. The meditators of Brahman go to Brahmaloka.
That is why they say, no, Shankaranti afterwards. Shankaranti afterwards is better to even Bhishma was waiting for that, Uttara Marga. He was waiting for Uttara Marga, even though he was lying on the bed of arrows. He was waiting to give, that's why he said Vishnu Sahasranama, all those things. When Uttara Marga started, that period started after Shankaranti, then only he left. So it's all, the idea is to, like what he has told, it is to, the bright path is praised. In comparison with their dark path. Dark path is Dakshina Marga, that is the light, the darkness. Here everything is, Devatas are represented by Jyoti, Agni and all that, which are all bright, which is Kala. Whereas Dakshina Marga is again doom and darkness. That's symbolic. It's all a symbolic way of representing, so that it gives you Shraddha to do karma and upasana, go to be a good person, go to Brahmaloka at least. So give that. But the idea is, even going to Brahmaloka, again you have to learn, you have to understand the whole Tatparya. Rather than going to Brahmaloka and the Uttara Marga and Dakshina Marga, understand it here and now, with the guidance of a Guru. That is the ultimate, that is Aksharam. But still, these are all there in the Shastra, that is praising the Uttara Marga compared to Dakshina Marga. At least go to Brahmaloka, at least there is a chance for you to learn. So, that is what is being talked about, yeah.
A blazing and beautiful route to Brahmaloka. There is a blazing and beautiful route. On the way, all the devatas are there. Agni, he is talking about Uttara Marga.
Uttara Marga, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Agni, the fire god, is there to welcome you. Jyoti, the presiding deity of time, is there, as is Ahaha, the devata of the day. Shukla is a fortnight of the bright half of the moon, represented by the Shukla Devata. The idea here is to indicate all that is bright, and these Devatas are present along the route to Brahmaloka. Uttarayana is a period of 6 months when the sun is travelling northwards to the north of the equator. The north symbolizes moksha, therefore when the sun is travelling northward, it is considered to be a punyakara, a better period of time than Dakshinayana. The 6 months when the sun is travelling southwards, to the south of the equator. Shanmasa Uttarayana literally means the 6 months of Uttarayana, but here it refers to the deity presiding over 6 months of Uttarayana. All these bright devatas invite the jiva on the path and take him to Brahmaloka. Okay. Brahmavidaha Janaha Brahma Gachanti. Those people who meditate upon Brahman through Omkara go to Brahmaloka. The The word Brahma here stands for Brahmaloka. Having reached there, they can gain knowledge of themselves as Brahman and are free. Thus, there is no return for them. We are only talking about those meditators who are successful enough to go to Brahmaloka. We know that the word Brahma stands for the gain of Brahmaloka rather than Brahman because it is said that they follow a path with devatas on the way. Shankara says they go to Brahmaloka and gain knowledge of Brahman, Kramena, gradually. This is called Krama Mukti. Then he adds that for the knowers of Brahman, there is no travel. The intention of Lord Krishna is not to describe various paths but to point out that meditators go to Brahmaloka and the path is brighter for them. So Shankara says that we have to take the word Brahmavidaha here to mean meditators on Brahman and not knowers of Brahman. There is no going or coming for those who have clear knowledge of Brahman. As you come to know that you are a Brahman, you have gained liberation. We are not talking about such people here. Since there is a root mentioned, it is only for the meditators. For the wise man, there is no subtle body to depart when the physical body dies. All the pranas have dissolved in Brahman. There is no person, no nucleus to which the karma can adhere. Since there are no karma valas, there is no travel. For the wise, there is no going or coming because he or she is Brahman.
I will read now.
Yeah. 25 verse.
Tomo Ratristata Krishnaha Shanmasa Dakshinayanam Tatra Chandramasam Jyotir Yogi Prapya Nivartate. Yatra, where in which path?
Yatra. Where in which path? Yeah.
Dhumaha, the presiding deity of clouds. Tata Ratrihi. Similarly, the deity of night. Krishna, the deity of the dark fortnight. Sanmasa Dakshinayanam, the deity of the 6 months of the sun's southward travel. Tatra, there on the path. Gatva, going. Yogi, the meditator. Chandravasam Jyotihi, the world of the moon. Prapya, having gained. Nivartate, returns. The yogi, travelling by the route. The presiding deity of clouds, the deity of night, the deity of the dark fortnight, of the waning moon, and the deity of the 6 months of the southern solstice. The sun's travel towards the south are present, having gained the world of the moon, returns. The Dhuma Marga is for the one who is not a karma yogi.
Excuse me, 1 minute. So people, generally they have a misconception that at least I also had when I heard Krishna premise that if you go in Uttarayana, you are going to.
See, very travel. That is what you have to. Very Tatparyam itself is travel means you are still an individual. That is why you are traveling. If you are Brahman, where is travel? Here and now, everything is all travel is over. So, very fact that you are traveling means you have done enough punya, enough karma, enough upasana, enough discipline to go to Brahma Loka, wherein you will be taught the same Brahma Vidya. That is why it's called Brahma Loka, because there is a possibility of learning Brahman from Brahmaji going there. But so it is in contrast to Dakshina Marga, people who are doing meditation and karma and upasana to get punya pala, going to Swarga and all that, compared to them going to Brahma Loka is better. So that's why he has clearly mentioned, he is only contrasting to the people going to Uttara Marga, compared to Dakshina Marga people, they are better off. Just contrasting, that's all. But the whole thing is an effort. Going to Brahmaloka is also an effort, but it definitely involves more effort and more rightful effort, because there, again, your objective is to gain moksha. Only that you are not sufficiently guided enough to understand it here and now. You are waiting, no, I will go to Brahmaji and then only learn. You are very clear about it. That is again, it's all a question of what sort of guidance, what sort of people, satsang you have. who is, like you were saying that when Krishna Parami told you, like a lot of people are there. It is not only that. A lot of people looking for that sort of a punya and that sort of a, in the sense, see, sometimes the Guru also feels he is not ready. At least let him be a good karmi and upas, let him go to, he himself may decide that no, he is not yet ready to understand. He is not able to understand. So let him do good karma, go to the Uttara Marga. It is better than praying for Swarga and doing Homa for Swarga and all that. It's better, okay, pray and meditate for Brahmaloka, it's fine. You will go there and get, even if you come back, you will learn. You will definitely, because your objective is to finally gain moksha by understanding Brahman. Even though you are doing karma and upasana, but your final end is, even the travel is towards Brahman, to understanding moksha. So eventually you will do it. So depending on where you are, everyone is mama vartma eva anuvartante. I told, no, that Bhagavan himself says, all of them are in the queue. Somebody is ahead, somebody is behind. So I bless all of them according to what they are asking for. That is how it is. So we cannot, we don't have to decry, but we have to understand what we are looking for. We want to understand the life and its reality here and now. I don't want to postpone. When there is a possibility, why not? That is our purpose.
No, but also when people die in Uttarayana, that's what I'm saying. After reading this, we think people who die in Uttarayana, because Bhishma waited, they will only go to this Marga, Uttara Marga, and people who die in Dakshinayana will go by that dark Marga, because that was discussed in our group.
Yeah, that's true also. Dakshinayana is what? Again, even if you do karma and upasana for Swarga and all that, even going to Swarga and coming back, so going to Swarga is definite that you are coming back. That is why it's called Dakshinayana. Going to Brahmaloka, there is a possibility that you will not come back by learning what is Brahman. Let us going to Swarga and all, Shine Punye Marte Lokam Visanti, guaranteed. It is something like going to Hawaii. After the money is over, you will come back.
But this question came in Nachu Swami's discourse. This question came up that Mahapariva attained Siddhi in Dakshinayana. So this question came up. Then he explained that it has nothing to do with what we read in Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavan says these two things, but that does not mean that if you die in Dakshinayana, you will go by this marga.
That is why he has already mentioned here. See, just before this whole thing started, he has said,
like that, I tend to think, okay, Uttarayana means.
No, he has mentioned very clearly. Those people, the others seek, okay.
That's what he is also people who read it first, Swamiji, he has also mistaken it like that. He says.
Yeah, but here he has mentioned very clearly, those people who know Brahman, they are not point of discussion here. It is the people It is the people who have not yet understood. They are looking for two margas. Uttara marga is better than Dakshina marga. But the person who has understood, he is not being discussed here. That is what he has already mentioned. See, that's what he has mentioned even before this.
Here it is there, no Swamiji. There is no going or coming for those who have clear knowledge of Brahman.
Where is it?
Where is it?
It is in the previous page. Before verse 25.
Yes, before there. What he read?
There is no going or coming for those who have clear knowledge of Brahman. As you come to know the Brahman, you have gained liberation.
Yeah. There is no nucleus to which the karma can adhere. Since there are no karma palas, there is no travel. He has already mentioned that. For the wise, there is no going or coming because the karma is already gone. There is no question of going and coming. Unless you are a karta, you will neither go to Uttara Marga nor go to Dakshina Marga. Whatever you do, you may do good punya karma, upasana and all, but you have already understood. So whatever, even that question will come at some point in time. What about the good karmas a jnani does? He says, whomsoever has the reverence for that knowledge, for them that punya will go. And whomsoever does not have a reverence for that knowledge, if at all they do any papa karma, that even if some, by chance, a jnani when he walks and he some kills an ant. Okay, some papa is there. That papa will go to the person who does ninda of that jnani and because of his own compulsions. All that is being told. The idea is no karma sticks to the person once a person understands. Because the karta is not there. So that is why the Uttara Marga and Dakshina Marga does not apply to the jnani. It is only to the yogis. And in yogis, Uttara Marga is better than Dakshina Marga. That is why whether Paramacharya, if he is already a Mukti jnani, whether he does in Dakshina Marga and Uttara Marga doesn't really matter. Because they are not being discussed. They are not the subject of discussion. It is for others. That is where the problem is. People have to understand it correctly. That is why they keep telling again and again. Time and again Bhagavan keeps talking about Atma, Brahman, Atma, Brahman. Understanding is the Tattva. Brahma Vidya is the Tattparyam. And everything else is there because for other people. There are people who do good karma, they go places. But okay, doing good karma is better than doing bad karma. And doing good karma for the purpose of Antakarana Shuddhi is also better because you will get the Shuddhi and someday you will get a Guru and get the guidance. If you do it for Punya and all that is again you are doing Vyavahara with Bhagavan. That we have discussed before also. So you will keep going and coming. You will get better places, no doubt. But it's a question of travel. Instead of going to Sri Lanka, you will go to Hawaii. That's all. What difference it makes? Either way you have to come back. So those are the clarity should be there. That is what they are trying to give you the clarity because all these things are there in all our lives. All these things are there, but we have to discern. So the discerning only, vivekam is most important. Nitya vastu viveka is more important than dharma viveka, which we have discussed long back. Dharma viveka will only take you to that far. At some point in time, you will slip. Every dharma is mixed with adharma. So every punya is mixed with papa. So you will always come back. You will keep traveling. That's all. But once you have a nitya vastu viveka, you will stick. Nitya is what? You are here and now. You are nitya. So anitya will keep going. You will not be bothered with that. So that is what you have to. Clarity that has to be there very clearly. Yeah. So where are we?
The Dhuma
Marga.
We have to start. Okay, we will start when we come back.
Okay,
correct. Dhuma Marga is for the one who is not a karma yogi. There again, there is a difference. If you look at karma only for as a transaction, then Dhuma Marga, it will go and come back. Yogi, at least there is again possibility of getting that infrastructure wherein you will understand. So yogi, even if you do karma, even if you don't understand now, if you do it as a yoga, there is a possibility you will get a guru and you will get the Antakarana Shuddhi and then you will understand and complete the journey. So you have to look at all possibilities are there because people are like that, various type of people. The Shastra is meant for all of them. But what is in it for us? We have to be discerning what we are looking for. Other things you read it academically, you read it so that you understand what is the whole Shastra is all about. Yeah.
Om Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti